The Toronto Blue Jays narrowly survive a sweep against the Dodgers.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150. Win or lose, visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Before we get into everything, we want to let you guys know that Locked On Blue Jays is making our way down to Toronto, May 17th and 19th. We will be at the games. We're going to be doing lives. We're going to be doing stuff with fans of the Blue Jays. We'll be making TikToks, doing posts, doing lives. We'll be out at the bars. Carter, should we ask people where's a good spot to go?
Yeah, I don't know about yourself, Braden, but I am a Toronto virgin that definitely have not been there. Don't know what the bar scene's like. I know it's quite the nightlife they have in Toronto, but I don't know what the spots are. So let us know where you think we should go, which bars you want us to hit up. We're going to be there Friday, Saturday, and then for the Sunday game as well against the Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm fired up for it. I'm excited to see you guys there. And just let us know what you think, where you think we should end up after those Jays games.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. We're so pumped. We've been sort of planning this out. And it's going to be exciting. And I think the channel's doing, way better than, it has been. It's popping off. You guys are killing it. We love the comments, the interaction, everything like that. So just to get to meet some of you guys, maybe some of the fans that, we've maybe seen during the live stream or just throughout the videos. It's going to be fun. So you guys can catch us at those games. It's going to be a blast. We're so ready to go. But I also wanted to say, you can check us out on Instagram and TikTok, Locked On Blue Jays, as well as our Twitters, Braden 5 Wasco, Carter First 2. And then drop a subscription here on YouTube. It really helps us out. And we also want to thank everybody for listening across all of the podcast, whatever it is, sites. There's like a million of them now.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Platforms. Good one, Carter. So the Blue Jays drop a 2-1 series against the Dodgers. We were outscored 17-7. Wasn't great. And I think we got lucky. I think it could have been way worse. There could have been way more runs. We dropped the first game 12-2, not great. Then a 4-2 loss, which I think we didn't look good in either. And then I think, squeaked out, and people aren't going to love this, a Mickey Mouse win on Sunday. I know there's some people that hate that, so I'm going to keep saying it. Just Carter, your overall thoughts on the weekend before we really get into game one, your overall thoughts.
It's the offense, man. This offense stinks out loud. Holy man. Like it's getting embarrassing to watch this offense. Yeah, we won today, but 3 runs, Kevin Gausman is pretty much the only reason we won today. I said it was going to get worse, then it's going to get better for the Toronto Blue Jays. I did not expect a 12-2 absolute beating that we undertook that day. IKF had to pitch. I mean, IKF's got a 4.5 ERA. Maybe we throw him in to pitch now. He's looking pretty good. But this whole series kind of expected. I expected the Blue Jays to lose this 2-1 just by the way they were playing. But I definitely didn't see it being this one-sided, to say the least.
Yeah, it was just a tough look. I think even the game that we won, it wasn't a good win. And I think that's the problem with this team is sometimes we're sneaking out some wins, but it's not in the fashion that necessarily anybody wants to see. I mean, Carter, I want to start with that Friday game a little bit. Chris Bassett didn't look like he had his stuff. He looked tough out there. Obviously, gave up 7 runs, 9 hits, only went 2 2/3 innings. 4 Ks, 3 walks, also gave up 2 bombs. One of the big things for me is it seems like the long ball is killing us a little bit. I had the stats open, and I think I left them be. I got to bring it up here. We are 28th in the league with home runs given up. And I don't know. It just seems like if our starters are getting hit, it's necessarily not giving up a ton of hits. It's just they might give up a long ball here or there. But to start, let's start with Chris Bassett. Carter, how do you think his game went?
Yeah, not great for Chris Bassett. And the problem with giving up those long balls is that we've invested so much in this defense. You kind of want to let them have a chance at actually making plays out there. You give up the long ball, that takes the defense completely out of it. So a little bit unfortunate there. Chris Bassett, I mean, this Dodgers lineup is absolutely ridiculous. We'll start with that. Looking at this team, Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, Max Muncy, Will Smith, holy, like, well, this is ridiculous, man. This, I guess money, they're buying their lineup, but I mean, man, if we had this lineup on the Toronto Blue Jays, I wouldn't care how much money we spent for that. But Chris Bassett, one of his biggest problems this year is Chris Bassett against lefties. He has been getting annihilated by lefties. So far, he's given up an average of 389, 5 home runs, an on base of 500, and the average exit velocity is 93.4 on balls hit in play. That's not going to play. You're getting on base every other time against lefties. That's damage, man. That's not going to be good for Chris Bassett. A tough start. I mean, this Dodgers lineup is so good, and we could have had Cy Young on the mound. This offense isn't doing anything anyway. So with Chris Bassett, I'm not really worried about this performance. Yeah, he stunk today for that game. Sorry, not today. But I'm not worried about Chris Bassett. Every single game, it comes back to the same problem that we've had since the start of the season, honestly, and it's this offense can't score runs.
Yeah, I mean, you can't put, I guess, this Friday game necessarily on the offense because the pitching wasn't great. But like we've said, it's almost where our pitchers are having to throw the baseball so conservatively and they want to try to be perfect so badly because they need to, that sometimes it becomes just horrible. And I don't know, going forward, this offense needs to do something because these pitchers can't be pitching. It's not going to happen that these pitchers are going to be pitching like this the entire season. People are going to have no, that it's okay. It's just I was just going to say that these pitchers are going to have off days that they're not going to be good, and on those days you need the hits to come through, and it just doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Oh, 100%. It seems like the Toronto Blue Jays pitchers have to be perfect in a game for them to win. You look at the Kevin Gausman win. He's unbelievable. Has one mistake pitch. We get 3 runs, which, I mean, that's typical Toronto Blue Jays. But what I was going to go and say is Gavin Stone is not that good of a pitcher. And we made this guy look like he was like the NL Cy Young winner this year. Gavin Stone, he went 7 innings pitched. We had 2 hits in 7 innings. It's just, again, like if Chris Bassett has a great day, he goes 6 innings, gives up 2 runs. We're still at best case scenario going into extras. So it doesn't matter how good this pitching is. Yeah, we're going to get some wins, especially against bad teams coming up in the schedule. I know we have a soft stretch coming up. We have the White Sox like twice in 2 weeks. We'll probably have a good stretch there because this pitching staff can limit the good team or the bad teams. And then you get a team like the Dodgers, and I'm not saying that the Toronto Blue Jays lineup should compare to the Dodgers because not a lot of lineups do. Maybe the only one is the Braves. Maybe the Phillies you could throw in there. But this Toronto Blue Jays offense, again, I hate how much I'm talking about it because it's been a problem last year. It's been a problem this year, and it doesn't look like it's getting any better. Hopefully it does, but it sucks when you have such a good pitching staff and this team time and time again can't get hits going. And then you have a manager in John Schneider who just refuses to switch anything up.
Oh, goodness. You don't even have to get me started on John Schneider. I think for all of you that have been checking out the TikToks and Reels and YouTube Shorts and whatever else Carter's been posting on, we've been going off. I think I saw Carter do a full Superman dive into our couch at one point. We've been complaining about John Schneider. And I think, Carter, it might just be time to address it. I know we want to get into that in the segment 2. I think let's finish recapping the games. Then we'll get heavily into John Schneider in segment 2 because it needs to be talked about. And I think that's what's beating this offense into the ground. I do want to go into game 2. We talked a little bit about... No, go for it.
Before we do that, I want to bring up one more thing. I just want to ask you about Shohei Ohtani. Obviously, the first time he's back at Rogers Center, getting a rain down with boos. And of course, in the first inning, he just launches a ball off of Chris Bassett. That's not going to help his image. But do you agree with the fans for booing him? Would you have booed him if you were at that game? Do you think it's not really his problem? I mean, I'm picking LA over Toronto, so I can't really fault him there. But what's your stance on that situation?
Yeah, no, totally warranted, to be honest with you. I mean, they pretty much used, and this is out now, they pretty much used Toronto as a leverage point for more money with the Dodgers. So for me, this is sort of a slap in the face to Toronto Blue Jays fans. And me, I've always been a hometown guy. I've always, been cheering, not necessarily, I shouldn't say that. I'm a Canucks fan, not a Jets fan. But I've always been that hometown guy. Like I cheered for the Moose when they were here. I cheered for the Gold Eyes. I cheered for the Blue Jays. So for me, like in that situation, I'd want a whole nation behind me. I'd want, that support. And I think for them to sort of spit in the face of Toronto Blue Jays fans, when this whole deal came out, when the whole Flight and John Morosi deal thing happened, Yeah, he just spat in the face. So I think as a Toronto Blue Jays fan, I would have been doing the same thing, to be honest with you.
I think I probably wouldn't have been because I like Shohei Ohtani. And if anything, I would have booed that bum John Morosi for saying that he was on the plane. Like I said, I'm picking LA over Toronto 100% of the time. I mean, just looking at that roster as well. But I definitely think it's warranted because, like you said, they did use the Blue Jays as leverage. Smart business move. Again, I can't really fault Shohei Ohtani, but if anything, I would boo his. What was it that the guy that was gambling? What was it?
Oh, his interpreter.
Yes, interpreter, and then I boo John Morosi as well. Those are the two that I'd be giving it the hardest to.
I gotta back up John Morosi a little bit. I was calling for this guy's head for a while when this first happened. I was angry. I was angry as any other Blue Jays fan. But to be fair, you're an insider and you're fed misinformation for a purpose. It wasn't misinformation that you couldn't divulge, whatever. They went out of their way to give somebody this misinformation to use as leverage. He got screwed. And to be honest, most of the time, John Morosi is very reliable. And I think he writes good pieces. Everything that guy does is pretty solid. And then to get screwed over like this, yes, horrible decision. I think as your job is to report credible stuff and then you don't report credible things, there should always be checks in place. We're told this in the industry that I work. Everything has to be credible. There has to be the correct information. And for him to go do this is a bad look on him. But to be overall, I mean, he got screwed as well.
I didn't expect you to have a rational take. I thought you were going to go with me and just let the emotions take the wheel. You're right, because
Usually.
It's the biggest story of the offseason, obviously. Shohei Ohtani, the face of baseball. You want to be first in on that case, gets fed bad information. What is he really going to do? Tough situation there. It just sucks that Toronto Blue Jays fans were the victim of this situation here. So a bad taste in our mouths, obviously, but I'm more than fine with the fans booing Shohei Ohtani. Didn't work very well in that first inning, but after that, Toronto Blue Jays staff did a pretty good job, actually, at neutralizing Ohtani for the series.
Yeah, it honestly wasn't horrible. Like, I know a lot of people that were betting on the game, a couple buddies and stuff, they were sending me like their lines of like Ohtani hitting bombs, Ohtani getting this many base hit, this many total bases, whatever. And I wasn't riding that train, so I got lucky, made some money. It was great. But Carter, game 2, Yusei Kikuchi, I don't think has a horrible game. I mean, he pitched 6 innings, gave up 4 runs, and the Blue Jays, again, it's just one of those things of not being able to score. This was the game I think, maybe the most pissed off with, because we had 3 hits. And again, it's just the same thing that we continually talk about here. And I don't know how many more days I can continue on talking about the hitting before there's some type of solution being made. Again, we're going to go over this in the next segment. But Carter, your just thoughts on Yusei Kikuchi and the 3 hits.
Again, Yusei Kikuchi, pretty decent day, I think. I mean, he doesn't have his stuff, but he gives you a chance to win. It's 6 innings pitched, 9 hits. I mean, a lot of hits given up. Didn't have his stuff, obviously, but only 4 earned runs. Again, like the Jays are only scoring, I think it's under 4 runs per game. We'll get the stats on that after as well as part of our next segment. But this offense just can't score. So as soon as you give up 3-4 runs, you might as well turn off the TV, honestly, because this Toronto Blue Jays team cannot come back. So again, I'm not worried about the pitching at all. And I'm going to sound like a broken record when saying this. And I feel like a lot of Toronto Blue Jays fans are on the same page as me, because when you watch, you spend 2.5 hours, 3 hours a day, daily with the MLB, watching this team play baseball. And when you see the same thing over and over and over again, and nothing is being done, it's honestly torture watching this offense play baseball sometimes. Like, I wouldn't wish watching this offense on my worst enemy.
No, that's fair. And you know what? You were killing it on the TikTok state where the over the weekend you said, what is it?
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Exactly. I thought that was just hilarious. Like I was laughing during the video. But moving into Sunday's game, I honestly, like I said, Kevin Gausman was an absolute stud, to say the least. 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 5 Ks, gave up a home run. I mean, that's just, like I said, it's going to happen. If you give up 1 home run a game as a starter, I think you'd be okay with that. The bats showed up a little bit. I mean, Vladdy had a little bit better of a day, 2 for 4. Schneid's an absolute beautiful double that set us up to get 2 runs. I mean, we all were trying to throw those runs away, but the boys were able to run a little bit, so that was good. And then Kirk, huge day, 3 for 3. I want to get into the Kirk stuff a little bit just because I think this is his first good outing of the year, to be honest. He's had okay ones, but overall it's been just horrible.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about compiling some information, doing some research on Kirk because I know he's been horrible this whole season. And then he goes out and has himself a little bit of a day. He has 2 singles. One of them was smoked down the line. If it's any other player, it's a double, but it's Alejandro Kirk. He was ripping out of the box, but unfortunately, he just doesn't have the wheels on him. Couldn't get there. And then Alejandro Kirk takes one the other way for his first home run of the season. So a great day from him. Davis Schneider, a huge double in that inning as well. The thing with Davis Schneider, I know you asked about Alejandro Kirk, but Alejandro Kirk, we saw vintage 2022 Alejandro Kirk. He's got to continue that. But I want to get into Davis Schneider. Thank God this guy hit a double with no outs because the next 2 at-bats are 2 straight ground balls with the runners in scoring position. Yes, we get the runs. 100% happy with getting the runs. But if we have any outs here, this team is still continuing to show they cannot hit with runners in scoring position. You have 2 outs in a row. Max Muncy, this is what I thought was hilarious as well. Max Muncy, there's a ground ball. I think it was IKF was at the plate. Davis Schneider ripping home. Average speed. He's not quick. He's not slow. But I think Max Muncy has a very good chance of making this play. But he decides to take the for sure out at first base because he believes the Dodgers can score more than 2 runs in a game, which is so fair because the Dodgers offense is very good. But if you're the Toronto Blue Jays, I can't remember which series it was. I think it was against the Royals, but I'm not 100% sure. First inning, they get runners on third, and we have the infield in. That just shows you how scared this Toronto Blue Jays team is of giving up runs. As soon as, like we said, you see every single day, you give up 3-4 runs, the game is pretty much over because this Jays offense can't score runs. But again, I am being very negative this podcast because I'm just sick of this. Saying this though, I want to get into a couple positives. Justin Turner's still hitting well. Yeah. Kevin Biggio is having some good at-bats. Davis Schneider looks good. I actually like Addison Barger at the plate. So there are some positives in the offense. It's just tough when you have the top 3 in this order coming up in big situations and you know exactly what is going to happen every single time.
Yeah, and you know what? A better day yesterday from Vlad, but then he tops that off with a base running error. So it's like, okay, you did something good and then you threw it all away again. This guy might be one of the worst base runners in the entire league. It is horrible how much he gets picked off. I don't know what he's looking at up there. It's not good. I want to get more into this because there is a second piece I have for this story, but we're going to take a quick break, and then we are going to chat about John Schneider and some things that happened during this past game.
As we all know, Mother's Day is getting closer, and it's time to start thinking of some gifts. This Mother's Day, get something thoughtful for your mom on DoorDash. Surprise her from wherever you are with fresh bouquets, the latest tech, gift cards, self-care treats, and much more to make her day that much better. Get thoughtful gifts she deserves with the convenience you need. Choose same-day delivery or schedule a week ahead for when flowers and gifts should arrive to her door with DoorDash. Get a Mother's Day gift today with DoorDash. You can use code LOCKEDONMLB and you'll get 50% off your next order, up to $15 off when you spend $15 or more on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order now using DoorDash. That's promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply.
As you all know, I'm pretty competitive. I've talked about this app more than once, and that is Monopoly Go. It's been downloaded over 150 million times. It's a great twist on Monopoly where you can play on not one, but hundreds of Monopoly boards in crazy locations, building up amazing cities that bring you big money. It was hilarious, actually. I was sitting on the couch this weekend. We had a bunch of people over, and I'm playing Monopoly Go. I'm just, getting my spins in, getting my rolls in, and I look over, and one of our friends are playing as well. I'm like, okay, that's it. We're going head to head. So we're friends on the game now. We're trying to, fight it out. It's a ton of fun. I can charge them rent on my iconic properties, just like classic Monopoly. But now I can also heist their vaults of riches for myself. And the leaderboards show me who the biggest Monopoly tycoon is. Quick tip, it's me. I'm great at this game. But it's not just my competitive side that loves it. You could team up with friends and people all around the world in time tournaments that you earn huge rewards. So get in on the game and join your friends. Download Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store and Google Play. So, Carter, it's time to talk about something that's been on both of our minds for a while here. And And that's John Schneider. I know we've maybe gone too much into this, and not just John Schneider, but I think it's a top 3 thing, plus John Schneider, plus Atkins, plus I don't know. We could do a million episodes on this. Vladdy gets picked off at 1. I'm not thrilled about it. I'm a little less than thrilled, I'll say. He goes back to the dugout. He's sitting there, blah, blah, blah. And John Schneider comes over, puts his arm around him, whispers something in his ear, maybe something nice. What are we doing? This isn't the first time this has happened. Vlad is horrible on the base path. This is known. These guys aren't doing their job. They're not being our superstars. And John Schneider's going to go around, put his arm around him, tell him, oh, it's okay. You're our superstar. Don't worry about it. No, we're done. We're too far with this. Yes, it's only how many ever games into the season. It's early. I don't care. I'm sick of seeing this. I don't want to see this. I'm about at the point where I'm calling for John Schneider's job.
Well, I mean, just at the time where you think Vladdy does something good, he gets picked off right away. And yeah, like you said, John Schneider puts his arm around him. It's almost like it's like he just like fell down or something when he was running around the bases. He's like, okay, buddy, you'll do better next time. It's just it doesn't seem like these guys care almost in a sense. Vladdy looked a little bit mad, shaking his head, walking off. But John Schneider, he's never going to be a guy that's going to yell at his players, discipline them whatsoever. He's too buddy with them, which does work in some cases. It is nice to have a coach or a manager that your players do like, but you got to be able to hold them accountable as well. John Schneider clearly showing that he's not doing that as well. There's been multiple situations, even in this series, where John Schneider has dropped the ball. Addison Barger had to throw an absolute seed from right field, by the way, a guy that's not even a fielder. An absolute gun to Ernie Clement, get the tag at 3. I think there's an out. John Schneider doesn't even think about challenging the play. I get it. Like, it is the second inning in this situation. I get it. But again, when you have a team that can't score runs, you got to make these plays. You got to take some risks, challenge that play. The worst case is you lose your challenge, whatever. But at least you have the opportunity to reverse the call and get out of that inning. And then obviously with the lineup, there's so many different things. Some of the pitching situations. I think in game 3, you should have left Kevin Gausman in, just because of how good he was, the control he had. He was at 93 pitches, but we've seen Chris Bassett go to 115. I will give John Schneider credit after the Gausman stuff. I think when he went with Yimi Garcia, I like that move. And he put Tim Meza in at the correct time. And also walking Freddie Freeman. That was a great move too. You don't want to pitch to Freddie Freeman if you don't have to. So again, maybe there's more people in John Schneider's ear, but the consistency of his choices is just all over the place. I feel like for every one good choice he makes, he'll make 5 bad ones. So at the end of the day, I'm pretty over John Schneider as well.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't want to just harp on him too much either. I mean, we've said this lineup isn't doing its job, and I don't know if there's much that Schneids is going to do that's going to really help this out. If guys aren't hitting, they're not hitting, right?
Yeah, I got some stats on this offense here, so I got a bunch of them actually. So after game 2, the Jays had scored 17 runs in their last 7 games. The Dodgers scored 16 runs in 2 games in the Jays series. Not great. And then I compared our top 3 hitters in the lineup to their top 3 hitters. So ours are obviously George Springer, Bo Bichette, and Vladdy. Not in that order, and then they have Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, and Freddie Freeman. When you look at this on paper, it is very obvious that the Dodgers 3 are better, but you need the top 3 on your team, your superstars, to at least compete with the Dodgers team. So in this series, our top 3 players went 5 for 32, which is a 156 batting average, 1 RBI. That's it. The Dodgers, 11 for 34, which is a 324 average, 2 home runs and 7 RBIs. Production from your superstars, something that we have not seen at all this year. Yeah, I was pretty speechless when I
got nothing.
As well. It's crazy.
I got nothing for you. Like that's the thing. Like you look at the stats, and I know what everybody's gonna say. I thought you weren't a stats guy. No, you're 100% right. But people with eyes, I always say I'm an eye test guy. If you have eyes in your skull right now, even if you can listen to the game on the radio, you can tell that these people aren't doing their jobs, and they're not doing them well. They're not even doing them close to well. Especially when you go up against either a division team, one of the teams that you want to prove yourself that you can compete, right? If you think that you're a top team in this league, then you better show up for the series that matter, because otherwise, Carter, I mean, What? Oh, we can beat the White Sox? Maybe? Great. But that's not showing anybody that we can compete with these big dogs if we ever have the possibility of getting a playoff spot. I don't even know at this point. But yeah, these guys just aren't showing up. And there's a lot. Yeah, I could sit here and I could say nothing because I think otherwise I'm going to sound like the old man yelling at the grass.
We got to take a step back, I guess, and we got to realize that it is 29 games into the season, and it is early. You got a ton of games. It's April, but when you haven't seen any sign of progress at all in this offense, like what are you supposed to get excited about with this team? That's why, like in all of our comment sections, it is fair because it is early. They could have the best month of May of their lives and turn this team completely around. It just doesn't seem realistic. Like I don't know, like. You have to assume that Vladdy Bo and George Springer are not going to hit 220 for the entire season. But at what point are they going to turn it around? George Springer looks terrible. Bichette, you think he has one good at bat. He had a good hit on his single today, but then he has a strikeout where he's swinging at junk. And then Vladimir Guerrero Jr. finally does something positive and then gets picked off. It's so hard to be positive about this team right now. Hopefully, we have the Royals coming up. Didn't look good in that last series we played against them, but we do have some good pitchers in this matchup. Good pitchers we're going against aren't as good. We do get Cole Reagan, which is just great again. But I'm getting to my wit's end, to say the least, with this offense. And I feel like based off the comments we've had, a lot of other people agree with me.
Yeah, 100%. And I want to ask you one question before we take a little bit of a break here to preview the series. John Schneider made it clear that he doesn't want to move these guys from the top of the lineup. I understand the thought process there. You need your stars to be your stars. You need them to figure it out. So don't get me wrong. A little bit of me totally understands that. But at the end of the day, they could figure it out and start playing well later into this season, and we miss the playoffs by 2 games. You got to grab these wins when you can, and not saying that maybe we would have gotten these games against the Dodgers anyway. But why not? If it's a series against the Royals and you have a chance to sweep, why are we not switching up the lineup and moving some guys that are hitting well, that are coming up in clutch situations like David Schneider? Why are we not moving these guys up to supplement these guys for now? This doesn't have to be a year-long thing, but if these guys aren't doing it, they're not doing it. And we need to put the guys who are in a better chance to succeed.
Yeah, I'm gonna read the John Schneider quote word for word here. So he said, "It's a matter of time, really. I know people talk about it. I'm not going to move them. They're going to be pitched the same way." Yeah, that's the point. You move them down in the order, they're going to be pitched the same way. They're probably going to still get out. And that's the problem, obviously. So why not move hitters up that have shown that they can be productive? You have Justin Turner hitting around 300. Ernie Clement has shown that he's been great. David Schneider has multiple hits where he's hit into the gap doubles, hits for power. Danny Jansen, actually, who's being under the radar, has been very good since he's come back. Why are you allowing a black hole in your top 3 spots? These are the 3 players are getting the most at-bats in every single game. They're supposed to be your best players. They're supposed to be your most productive hitters, but you're just allowing them to get out time and time and time again. And you're right. You have to rely on these superstars if you want to do anything. You're not going to be able to rely, unfortunately, on Justin Turner. Well, you're probably Justin Turner, but I meant more Ernie Clement, David Schneider. They're probably not going to be as consistent as these guys that are veterans, established time in the league. It amazes me, and I'm speechless. I'm sorry that I've been so negative on this podcast. This is my rant podcast, because this weekend, it was, I thought I had hell week with exams. This was hell weekend.
I like that. Okay. I mean, yeah, no, I wasn't happy. It was, it is frustrating. And I think you lighten the mood a little bit. I'm not going to lie. You had some fun with the TikToks. I think you were able to get your point across and still lighten the mood. I think those were good. If you guys wanted, follow us there. As we said, it's at Locked On Blue Jays. And yeah, Carter just sort of does breakdowns of games. He hits the major talking points. It's sort of nice for a quick recap. If you want to come here and actually, vent with us and let us vent and tell you what we think, then that's great too. So we really appreciate you guys have been absolutely killing everything lately. We have been shocked beyond belief this past, 4 or 5 days. It's been nuts. But we do want to preview this Royals series, sort of give our thoughts. Carter, I don't know if you have the statistics pulled up for what we have for predictions, but we'll get into all that too coming up.
Just before we do cut, we
Oh,
did it
God,
again.
I
The
forgot.
Locked On 24/7 streaming channel. I thought you might have figured it out that last week, but
Dang.
here we are again.
It's a new week.
Perfect opportunity with all the sports going on. Obviously, the NHL playoffs. What a Canucks win on Sunday, by the way.
Let's go.
Oh my God. We were fired up. I think
I don't know if we've ever hugged like that before. Maybe we don't want to put that out there.
That was a sentimental moment, to say the least. But Brock Besser, oh my God. If you guys want NBA playoffs as well, I'm not a big basketball guy, so we usually keep it to NHL talk on this podcast. But there's obviously a ton of sports going on. If you want some expert analysis, you can either go over to the Amazon Fire TV channels app or the Locked On 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Either one, all your sports content. We're going to recap the Royal Series and some other stuff coming up.
And this episode, of course, brought to you by FanDuel, maybe my favorite app ever. I have been betting, I've been winning, I have been enjoying life. I feel like when I go through the week and I win a bet, I am just happy-go-lucky walking around work because I feel like, oh, I just made an extra 2 hours worth of work betting on FanDuel. It's playoff time right now in the NBA and NHL. Baseball is in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
There's just a couple things that I wanted to bring up on this podcast before I forget. Every time we have a Monday episode, we have so much to talk about. And I never get to talk about like half the things I even wanted to say. I just wanted to give props to Dalton Varsho and George Springer in that game 3. George Springer, oh my God, what a catch. That completely changed the game. If that ball gets down, it's a leadoff double. It might be a little bit of a scarier situation. Also wanted to bring up Max Muncy in that the top of the 8th inning. I almost had a heart attack when he hit that baseball. I thought it was a grand slam. Dalton Varsho, another jumping catch at the wall. Great time for Dalton Varsho. This guy's just making plays everywhere, it seems like, in the outfield.
This is the Dalton Varsho that we traded for. This is the guy, and I don't even think he's at his peak yet. This guy, I think you said it early in the year that Dalton Varsho was going to have an excellent season. And Carter, I don't think he's going to get the steals, but overall, he's going to have a great season, and I'm backing you on this one.
All right. So, yeah, Dalton Varsho, so far, it's been good.
All right.
I'm just surprised you never back me ever. So that's why I was like, oh, my God, I got Braden's approval. That's always what I seek out for. But going into some injury updates, some positives and some negatives. So, Ricky Tiedemann, positive for Ricky Tiedemann, thank God. Ulnar nerve inflammation, going to keep them out for 7 to 10 days. He'll start throwing in 7 to 10 days. Best outcome for all involved in this situation. Unfortunately, Brandon Barea, a highly touted prospect on the Jays in the top 10. It looks like his season is going to be done. He needs left elbow surgery. Unfortunate to see him. It's tough to see young guys that are in this prospect pool that we want to see succeed. We want to see them get reps in, especially at a young age. You want these guys to play baseball. Unfortunately, that's going to keep them out the entire year.
Yeah, that sucks. Sorry, I had to give you a yeah back. No, it is tough. And we talked about all these injuries and stuff going on right now. Just overall, it sucks. Everybody wants to see these guys succeed. And you'd rather watch the better guys play against each other than having some bum out there. So I think as a prospect to get injured, it just sucks all around. And again, there's not much else I can say. I've done my talks on all the injury stuff. This stuff happens. This isn't out of the blue. Let's be honest. But yeah, when it hits a little bit close to home, one of our prospects, yeah, this sucks.
All right. So the last thing that we want to get into for this episode is the Royals series. Obviously a tough loss. Losing the series 3-1, 1-11 rain delay, kind of tough. But I mean, it is what it is. You're down in the game. If it was the other way in Blue Jays' favor, I probably would have been fired up. Oh, it's tough. Yeah, rain, whatever. That one's a little bit tougher, though. I know we didn't really get into it. They kind of forced them to play through the first 5 innings. The field conditions were terrible. I think they just wanted to get that game out of the way. Kind of sucks for the Blue Jays. But for this Royal series, Monday, we have Yariel Rodriguez. I've been loving watching this guy pitch. To be announced for the Royals.
I got it.
Oh, you got it.
I found
now?
it out.
Awesome.
Yeah, I found it out. It is Jonathan Bolin.
I don't know who that is.
Try to ask me who that is again. I have no clue. Okay, I don't think a person on planet Earth. Maybe we'll have to talk to Locked On Royals guys. Maybe they have a clue.
What was his name? Jonathan Lothar?
Jonathan Bolin. Bolin. Yep. He has a 0-0 record.
Okay, that's what I was gonna look up.
A nothing ERA. I don't even know if he's pitched this year.
He might have been called up from AAA.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's pitched this year. So
yeah, I'm focusing on this Tuesday matchup though, because we got two dogs going. I do know this guy, Cole Reagans. This guy is filthy, and then obviously a well-known pitcher. He's doing okay this year, Jose Barrios. We got that matchup on Tuesday. That's going to be an absolute dogfight. We might only see one run in that entire game. And then on Wednesday, we have Chris Bassett at it again, going against Seth Lugo. Braden, I'm going to quickly go over this last predictions that we had. I actually had my first perfect prediction of the year. And I did have it right, saying that it's going to get a lot worse than it's going to get a lot worse first than before it's going to get better. It got worse. It got a lot worse, way worse than I even anticipated. A 12-2 beating, to say the least. Braden had the prediction right in the series, but he had the Blue Jays winning the first game and losing the next two. So that takes us. Braden is at 17. I'm at 16.
Yeah,
still right there. He's still up. It's close, but Braden, what are your predictions for this Royals series?
Yeah, I think Yariel comes out and puts on a show first game. I'm taking a win for the Blue Jays on that one. I don't know this Bolin guy, and I don't necessarily know if that's going to be 100%. That might get switched up. Who knows what goes on? Barrios and Reagans is going to be just an absolute, like you said, dogfight. This is going to be an absolutely electric game to see. A little bit of sad news. It's the NHL playoffs. I'm out at the Whiteout Street party. Carter's got some Canucks stuff going on. So the boys are going to be definitely busy. We're going to try to, I'm going to have Sportsnet up on my phone at this Whiteout thing. We might not cover the game for the Wednesday episode, but we will get it right after.
And I'll definitely make a video for TikTok and YouTube Shorts. I'll have a game recap coming out, but we won't have the Wednesday episode as a recap on the game. We'll probably cover it on Thursday.
Yeah. So I'm going to go actually with a Barrios win here, and then I'm going to have us losing the Chris Bassett game. So I got a 2-1 Blue Jays victory with the first two games being wins.
God, do I ever want to say there's going to be a 2-1 series win for the Toronto Blue Jays. But I think that would be kind of hypocritical of me based off how I just ranted for half an hour on how bad this Toronto Blue Jays offense is.
I'm just trying to ride on hope right now.
Another thing is usually when there's a pitcher that is either called up or a pitcher that nobody really knows, doesn't have a lot of experience in the MLB, he turns into the greatest pitcher of all time against the Toronto Blue Jays. So I can see him going 7 innings with 2 hits and not
Ronel Blanco. Give that guy MVP, I guess, because he looked unbelievable against the Jays.
It's one of those things. So I have the Jays losing that game because it's just classic Blue Jays fashion. And then we have the Jose Barrios, Cole Reagans. Jose Barrios just seems to have an edge in pretty much every game this year. You know what you're going to get out of Jose Barrios. You know what you're going to get out of Cole Reagans. I think the Jays find a way in this game. I think they're going to take this one. Chris Bassett, it's going to be one of those games that Chris Bassett gets a no decision when he's just unbelievable. And the Jays are going to find a way to lose this game as well. I can't get back on the winning train yet based off what I saw this weekend. This weekend series was horrible. If they turn it around, I'm going to be on top of the moon. I'm not going to be like, this offense is going to have to show me a lot for me to get fired up about that. But 2-1, you win that series. I'm definitely a little bit more positive about this Jays team. But again, we need to see something from the offense. I'm not going to be happy until this offense gets going.
Yeah, that's so fair. You know what, Carter? We know that these Mondays episodes, they get crazy. They get all over the place because there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to discuss. We have a lot of thoughts, as intelligent or unintelligent as you guys think they are. But we do want to thank you guys. The support lately has been just outstanding. We were blown away. We talked about this before we hopped on this podcast, just how insane that sort of everything has happened up until now. We have loved doing this. It is hard to pass up an opportunity like this when you just get to talk about your favorite team. We love covering this team. We love giving you guys the most up-to-date information that we have. So stick with us. We're going to be going to the moon here. I was going to say for the rest of our lives, but who knows, Carter, stuff goes on. But hopefully for the rest of our lives, we get to cover this team. And yeah, like I said, we're coming to Toronto May 17th to the 19th. It's going to be a blast. We're going to drill it to you guys every episode at the beginning so that because we're going to be asking for your guys' tips, where to go, where to stay. If you got good flight options, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe places to eat too. Obviously, a lot of good food down there as well.
I did hear there's this this Mexican place, and they give out it's like tequila drinks, and they're really cheap, and it's like apparently it's just
so you're not worried about the food, you're worried about the drinks, of course. Typical. Yeah, this has nothing to say about
no,
that.
they got good tacos there too, apparently, but you need to take the drinks with it too. You can't go to a place with great food and terrible drinks, but you can get away with going to a place with good drinks and terrible food.
No, that's definitely fair. That the drinking would probably make up for the food. I just want to say thank you guys for watching. My favorite part of this podcast so far has been the engagement we've gotten from you guys, the debates we've had. Some of them have gotten a little bit heated. Most of them, I should say, are pretty positive. It's pretty fair. Nobody's getting too crazy in the comment section. But I mean, sometimes, you got to get in the mud. You gotta chirp some people, especially when they're Yankees fans. But we always appreciate the likes, comments, subscriptions. It's been going crazy this last week. Probably the best growth we've seen since we started the podcast. And I think that comes at a time where the Toronto Blue Jays are probably in one of the lowest moments we've had so far throughout the season. So it's nice to have multiple other fans in the same spot as us. We know we're not going through it alone. Just wanted to say thank you guys for watching. Before we do head out, I want to bring it up one more time. You already know NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, college sports, whatever you want to watch. You can either go to the Locked On Sports Today channel or the Amazon Fire TV's channel app. 24/7 on both platforms, whenever you want to tune in. Perfect opportunity to get some sports analysis. Braden, you got anything else to add?
No, this is a blast. I mean, it's nice. I can come on here and relieve my stress a little bit from all these games. And I'm sorry if I sound a little bit off again today. I'm still really battling a cold here. I was feeling like garbage before this. I popped a couple Tylenols, feeling better. But
this guy is sick literally every 2 weeks.
I think you've been more sick than me lately, to be honest. But I would say before Christmas, I had you beat.
Oh, you had me beat literally every time. I had a weird March. I was sickly in March for some reason. I don't know what was going on.
You're just a sickly boy.
Just a little sickly boy, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, we're getting out of here.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.